After neo-Nazis held a rally here last month, carrying rifles, waving swastikas, and hurling racial slurs, just moments before children were let out of school.
Turn now to one community in Ohio, which is now the center of a growing national debate about civil rights, hate speech, and the Second Amendment. NBC News correspondent and NBC News Now daily anchor Morgan Radford visited the town of Lincoln Heights, where residents have formed an armed community defense group in the wake of a neo-Nazi rally. Morgan joins us now. You were there just on Tuesday. What did the residents tell you about what's going on?
Yeah, I was there just this week. John, it was fascinating because what's interesting is that this town was founded during the Great Migration back in the 20s as a refuge for black citizens, which is why it was especially painful when neo-Nazis suddenly appeared in this 3,000-person majority black town. But they decided to fight back, taking up arms and patrolling their own streets. Now they're at the center of a much larger debate about protection and free speech and who gets it.
These aren't police officers or soldiers.
They're business owners, their fathers, their sons, daughters.
These are civilians, members of the Lincoln Heights Safety and Watch program.
It's a duty. Okay, let's go.
The duty, protecting their neighborhood, the majority black village of Lincoln Heights, Ohio. After neo-Nazis held a rally here last month, carrying rifles, waving swastikas, and hurling racial slurs, just moments before children were let out of school. At the time, law enforcement officials said the neo-Nazis did not break any laws, but an investigation by county prosecutors is ongoing. Weeks later, the KKK came with these flyers.
First African-American community above the Mason-Dixon line of staff.
Safety and Watch Group spokesperson Durrance Daniels says the police did not do enough, which was more chilling because the town was founded in the 1920s as a safe haven for black residents.
Lincoln Heights is our home. If somebody broke into your home, you call the police, and the police says, if they do it again, we haven't broken any law, so we're just going to allow them to break into your home again. What would you do?
Are you worried at all that having a potentially armed response could just create more friction, create more danger?
I'll answer that by saying I've never felt safer as a black man in my community than I have right now.
The mayor of Evendale, which oversees the police force that responded that day, said in a statement to NBC News, "Our emphasis on de-escalation and public safety resulted in the incident's resolution without injuries to any of the persons involved." But residents here say they can't afford to wait. Every day, the Safety and Watch Group escorts children to school and patrols the streets.
Why do you all wear masks?
Those Nazis, we have reports of them finding our backgrounds, so we're not hiding ourselves from the residents, but we're protecting our family for what we're doing out here.
While many locals do support the security group, some, like business owner Eric Ruffin, say they wish the group wasn't needed.
We don't want to become what we hate. We don't want to become a group of people that walk around feeling like we have a reason in America to have to protect ourselves.
And this community
Stand up.
Stand up.
is not backing down.
We contacted the mayor of Evendale's office, and they say that prosecutors are looking at body camera footage of the neo-Nazi rally to see if any criminal charges could be filed. But meantime, the Hamilton County Sheriff is also calling on state lawmakers to pass legislation making it a crime to wear a mask with the purpose of intimidation while open carrying, guys.
So, Morgan, let me ask you, one of the people you interviewed there, a young man, said he's never felt safer in his community than he does now. So this could have an impact nationwide, things like this. I mean, there is a contagion factor in safety. People always seek it. What did the mayor or anybody that you spoke to think about the contagion factor?
Durrance, I don't want to speak for him, but after my conversation with him, I feel like I could confidently say he would say the contagion factor has already happened. Because when I asked, is this a reaction to a local moment or a national movement? And he said, look at January 6th. He said, you already have people felt emboldened to come here locally because of what they saw nationally. If you can hang from the building of the hallowed halls of the Capitol and then be pardoned, not be prosecuted, why don't you think you can come to a small village of African Americans, only 3,000 people?
Morgan, does the group have any real authority But as long as they stay within the confines of the law, they should be okay.
It's a great question. You know, I asked that basically, are you stopping cars when they come in because you think someone looks suspicious? Is that, you know, profiling in its own sort of way? And they said, no. We are patently aware of what our rights are and what our limitations are. They said, we're not officers. What we do is we are trying to cooperate with the police department. So if we see suspicious activity, because remember the KKK came back with flyers just after this rally. So they're saying this is more of a defensive posture to deter people from entering our community and showing them by virtue of our masks, by virtue of our guns, that you can't come here and we're not going to take this punchline down.
All right, Ground On News. As always, this is our news source. This was 3 days ago. Lincoln Heights, Ohio residents form community patrol group. I like the idea. When you feel like the police aren't doing enough, you just have people around that's just looking. I may need to put more thought into that idea. In the majority black village of Lincoln Heights, civilians have formed an armed group to protect their neighborhood after neo-Nazis carrying rifles and shouting racial slurs held a rally there last month, which is interesting because I'm like, how is it that a village, an area of majority black people, and you have neo-Nazis that's just able to come and just do that? Like, why are you coming into a land that's been majority black for the longest time and you're starting to do all this protest? It doesn't make sense. That was on MSNBC. Black community in Ohio form a safety program at the neo-Nazi rally. So the interesting thing I like to point out about this is that there's only there's only two sources, MSNBC and NBC. This is completely left-leaning, understandable, because the people in the community, the people that's living in these areas are heavily affected. And it's left-leaning because white people are the culprits in this situation, and you know the reason for this starting up, allegedly. So the question is, why aren't the Republicans doing anything about it? Why aren't they saying anything in regards to this? Why is it just the left? Why is it just MSNBC? Why is it just NBC that's talking about this? It kind of doesn't make sense to me that these are black people in America that's being affected. You have white supremacist group, neo-Nazis, that are coming out and essentially rallying, protesting against other races. I mean, there's a clip right here that shows what they were doing. Oh, no, there's a right here, there's literally an image of what they were doing on that bridge. Now, if you don't call that being racist, I don't know what is. And if you're openly doing that, I don't know how that's hate speech. You're essentially saying that we need to make this country only for white people again, which it never really was just white people here. So I don't understand where they get that from. But it just doesn't make sense how they were allowed to do this. For the police to come out and just kind of like block them off and stuff like that. Like they're given a right to do that. I mean, when we look at other types of protests, we look at January 16. Okay, that was one situation. And even then, that's a whole scandal in and of itself. But when we look at the Black Lives Matter movement, I mean, we can't say anything because the same thing happened there. They were black people that was out and looting and destroying cities, streets, blocks. And then people actually got killed during these protests. So the question becomes, what is hate speech for you to not be able to protest? My point is, we shouldn't be having to do this in the first place. So the fact that we have all these protests, when are the protests okay? When are they not okay? If we're peacefully protesting, okay, that's absolutely just fine. I don't think that we should be going around and just destroying a whole bunch of stuff, which is one thing. I don't think we should be going around and making people feel threatened for their life, that there's people that's out here that doesn't. It's literally trauma. It literally brings in the fear of people. Now, this is the part where I can genuinely say that I completely understand where the black people are coming from when they say, you know, the trauma of everything that's happened in the past, because you have these white people that are here, not putting emphasis on white people, I'm sorry like that, but these neo-Nazi individuals that are here putting down posters over the bridge saying, "Make America white again." Well, what the heck is that supposed to mean? Why are you doing this here where I live? You don't even live here. The majority of people on this block is black. So what? Why did you come out of your area to come here and do that. It doesn't make sense to me. So for me, for this type of stuff to be happening, this is where I call it hate speech. Now, for the people that don't see this as hate speech, and I'm not even going to call you neo-Nazis, but say that but the unbiased people that in this situation that can say that this is okay, tell me, put it in the comment section exactly what you mean by this is okay. Because I would like to know. I can see how this is just protesting, but at the end of the day, this type of protesting is insinuating a race of people to no longer be in this country. So I could have sworn that was called a hate speech if that's the case. So I don't understand how that's okay. But again, if you're unbiased on the situation and you have further reasons as to why it's okay for the neo-Nazis to do that, go ahead and let us know. I'm very considerate to it. I can be very open. Y'all already know I'm biased about anything that's going on unless it's biblical. But even then, on a biblical sense, we shouldn't be doing this. So, I mean, you can still provide your information because I really like to know what the thought process and all this is. Now, as far as I think that was the mayor that was talking where he was saying that he never felt safer. I don't see an issue with this having a neighborhood watch per se. As long as they've been like fully vetted and like, I don't know, it again seems pretty dangerous for individuals that don't have, police clearances, armed force clearances to be walking around with arms. But I mean, if you're licensed to hold and carry, then I guess you got to use it at some point. I don't know. So, I mean, to that extent, I understand it. I get it. And as far as the mayor was saying, I can see why he would feel safer because you have somebody that's outside of the police who can only do so much. That's watching over everybody. You literally have people that are outside. I mean, I don't know what they do when everybody got to work, but I guess if they have individuals that's actually out there and being serious about this, then it's great to have that type of level of individuals that care to that extent to want to do that. Now, the question is, are they going to be protecting everybody? Because Lincoln Heights, I mean, I would think that they're not. I mean, I would think that if it's a black, look, I'm trying not to sound racist and all this, guys, but I'm just being for real. I would think that if it's a black community type thing, that there would also be some black community stuff that happens, aka black on black crime. Would they be also vigilant on those things as well? We don't know. They haven't said, and that should be a decent question to ask. Are they covering everybody for every situation, not just for the neo-Nazis? But I can understand why they would feel this way. I can understand why he would feel safer. I mean, it's the same thing. Like there was a video that I was watching, I think way back during the Black Lives Matters protest. And then there was a song by one of the country dudes saying, and everybody thought it was racist, saying, you can do all that stuff that you got going on, tearing up the cities, but you can't come and do this here in Virginia. I don't think it was Virginia. It was some country town, some country song. And and it was during the first, I think, Trump's first presidency when he was rallying the first time. And the whole thing behind it was you're not going to come around here doing that stuff. So essentially them saying the town is protected by its civilians. They're not going to sit here and wait on the police. They're going to do what they need to because you're over here trying to cause issues in their town. So I don't see why it's an issue for black people to do the same. Just like how I can understand where if they could say that they can protest and nobody really gets arrested in the Black Lives Matter movement while they're literally destroying whole streets, why is it that white people can come and protest and rally about, okay, yeah, you see where I'm going with this? Like we can, for those that try to make that similarity, it's not the same. I'm saying it out loud and it's not the same. This is a protest for something an event that happened. That is a protest because these people do not like other races and they want to get rid of them type thing. And so the individual that said that he doesn't want there to be this protection program, I mean, like I said, I can understand if you feel like you need it, go ahead and do it. I think there should be more protection in the areas, people that's fully vetted and stuff like that to make everybody at least feel safe and hopefully make the town a lot safer. That's completely fine. And I hope that there's some funding program for them too, to be able to, do their job better. Now, I think that would cause some issues with the police forces. I could definitely see they're causing issues with police forces as far as, trying to work side and side. I know police would probably just want them to get rid of their guns, which defeats the purpose of the whole protection thing, because what you gonna do? Hey, stop! And they have a gun in their hand, like what the heck? So for him to say that he doesn't feel like there should be a need for it, you're right. There shouldn't be a need for it. Just like how I feel like there shouldn't be a need for individuals to have guns for their protection. But there are people that have guns because they need that protection, or they feel like they need to have that protection. They don't feel protected with the community. They don't rely on the police to be able to help them when the situation comes up, either by choice or not by choice. It just so happens to be the case where people would prefer to have their own protection and take matters into their own hands. So in the same sense, these individuals at Lincoln Heights do not feel like the police will take matters into their own hands because they feel like the police didn't really do anything during the times when they were at that bridge and putting that poster saying to make America white again. Doesn't make sense to me how you were able to just allow to do that and allow to protest like that. That's craziness to me, but whatever. I was a little confused when he said that at first, and I can see why he said that, but I think there's a little more thought that needed to be put into the situation. I'm there with you. I wish that we could live in a world where we don't need to feel like we need to protect ourselves, but unfortunately, that's not the world that we live in. Some people feel like they need to. I don't own any guns, but that's the protection that I feel like I have. That's where, thank God for being able to be put in my previous housing locations, and even till today, to feel like I didn't need that level of protection or to protect myself and my family, nor would I want to live in an area where I would need to put up that much protection for myself and my family. But I mean, to each his own. Everybody feels the way that they feel. And as far as the county sheriff trying to make it illegal to wear a mask and intimidate other people while opening carry, I'm completely for it. Doesn't make sense. You're trying to make a point. Why are you covering your face? You're trying to protest. Why are you covering your face? Doesn't make sense. You didn't see Black Lives Matter people covering their face. You don't see the people January 6th covering their face. But for some reason, you feel like you need to still cover your face when you're out here causing. You see what I'm saying here? So for those that think I'm still genuinely trying to see, how is this okay? You're hiding yourself. You're expressing your distaste for other races, and you're holding firearms for whatever reason. But I don't know. But the police didn't do much. Just try to get them to stop. Try to get them to leave. Whatever. Apparently, it's okay. It's okay. But I don't know. Maybe it's the old leftist in me that's feeling this way. But ultimately, I feel like this shouldn't be, like, they had no reason to do this, if you ask me. If we're really going to sit here and be Americans, then for those of you that think that this is okay, this is not the America that you think it is, because America has always been, since America was formed, it was always been of different races, regardless of how much you want to say that it was the white people that took control of this country. There was still Black people that did hold a big majority of this country's development. There were the Indian people that did have some involvement in this country. And as the years continue to go, as the years continue to go by and to continue to get older and older, other nations have contributed to this nation. So you could say that white people make America white again. I mean, I don't know, man. And it's just weird how it's like neo-Nazi. It's just a weird situation. But once again, y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section below, especially my Republicans. Why aren't the Republicans talking about this? Is this not important? Is not important? Or they just let the neo-Nazis do whatever they want, just like the left has been saying for the longest? Y'all let me know in the comment section what y'all think. I'm going to catch you on the next one. Take it easy. Peace.